I'm here with a good friend of mine, Steve Tasca, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest once again on my talk show. And
Thank,
I just want to say thank you.
thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you asking me, and we'll see how it goes.
Now, for people who want to know what uncensored is my way of showing people that even if we're learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities or disabilities, but you should never give up or have people label you, and you should prove to them you can still amount to something. With that being said, you know the drill. We did an interview prior to this, but I screwed it up. Learning disability. But we're doing it over, so you know the routine. So starting off, what can you tell us about your high school years, and do you have any funny stories you would like to tell us once again?
Yeah. Well, like I said, high school was pretty average for me. Kind of kept to myself a lot in high school. I enjoyed more of the extracurricular stuff more so than necessarily the classes, I guess. Um, my favorite class subject in high school was science. I really enjoyed physics. Just like to see how the world worked and everything. I thought that was really cool. Um, like I said, I was in AV. I did the radio for a little while. I was part of the drama club for my senior year in The Sound of Music. They actually, the funny story is when I was auditioning actually for the play, I had to sing a song for Edelweiss actually. And what wound up happening is I don't have a great voice. So I gave it my best shot. I was terrified to do it. And I basically started singing and I messed up the first couple notes I was supposed to sing. So in the audition, I just said, "Oh fuck," and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry." So I was like cursing in front of the teachers, like right. Um, but I wound up getting a part as a ballroom dancer and a German Nazi, which was kind of funny. So with that said, in AV, I did the radio for a little while. Like we said yesterday, one of the funny stories I had was we couldn't get enough people to call in to request different songs to be played. So I wound up on the radio telling everyone that was listening that I would play "We Built the City" as many times in a row until somebody actually calls in to request something different. And I think we made it up to about 7 times before Mr. Earl came in and yelled at me and threatened to kick me out of the radio station if I didn't change it. So, like I said, like in high school, like anything else, you know, it's clicky like any other school. I tend to kind of just float through a little bit. Did enough just to get to college, and then after that, I wound up going up to SUNY Plattsburgh to study mass media and video production because I enjoyed AV so much. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Now how would you answer before I answer this question? I'm gonna throw it back to you. How would you describe your freshman, sophomore, no, let's see, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year? How would you describe each one? What made it different from one year to another?
well, I remember my freshman year coming from middle school and going into ninth grade. I remember one of the first things I noticed was a kid wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt and a kid wearing a Yes shirt, which I thought was the coolest thing because I really only thought like my parents like listened to some of the classic rock bands. Like nobody my age or around my age would enjoy that sort of stuff. So I remember my freshman year, I was terrified to go in. I noticed that it was a little easier to find your group of people that you could hang out with versus middle school, which I hated middle school. Middle school seemed to be like one of those tough ages where you have to like really, be a type. All right, Gus, stop. Come here. This is the other dog. Middle school, I just felt like it was like kind of you going through like the whole changes where you're trying to be an adult but you're still a kid and it's like tough to find. So I remember freshman year being really really cool that it was just you could kind of make your own, become your own person in high school. Sophomore year, I don't really remember too much about it. All I remember was it's just you got a year under your belt. You're not afraid. All I remember was it's just you got a year under your belt. You're not a freshman anymore. You kind of you kind of like made your friends in high school. Your kind of group. junior year and senior year, I remember all being about trying to prep for college and trying to get as many classes in and trying to get as many extracurricular stuff as you possibly could. So I remember I was in ski club for a while. I loved snowboarding in high school. Made a lot of friends that way. And pretty much the year that we graduated, senior year, was the year of the food fight and the riot and everything like that. So it's kind of fun watching from afar. I got a lot of video and pictures from that. Not the best thing to be remembered for, but I mean, it was still pretty fun to be a part of. So.
Hey, well, before I ask you about the food fight, now I'm going to explain how I went through all 4 years. First year, freshman year, I had all my brother's friends who, like Matt's Case, Dustin, Kathleen, Kevin, and it's kind of funny because, okay, I know who Max was, so I befriended him. But I used to sit by myself looking at my brother's yearbook, and Justin and Kevin decided one day to befriend me, and I'm very thankful for that. Then Kathleen came along. So that was basically my freshman year hanging out with my brother's friends. Sophomore year, I joined AV. That's when I became friends with Sarah, Meg, Megan, Stephanie, everyone, Danielle Jure. And I remember, you probably know this one, or you might heard a rumor. I flirted with Kathleen because she was like the gothic girl, and I liked gothic girls at the time. And I was just basically extending my hand to her in friendship, and I kind of gave her like a bracelet. It didn't mean anything, but she took it the wrong way, and that ended that friendship. But hey, I didn't mean anything by it, but
Right.
but like I said, I joined AV, and I didn't know everyone had in the beginning, but towards the end, I became friends with the people who I mentioned. Let's see, 2005, I was slowly becoming friends with Danielle Jure. I was hanging out with Andrew and Tony. We created her own show together. It was the Keith and Andrew show, or the Keith and Tony show. That didn't last long because they were obnoxious. But let's see, what was it? I was gonna say, yeah, I created my own talk show, and that's how I got interested. Senior year, there was a lot of misunderstandings, the teachers picking on me and everything, and that was really it. I had some good years. In my favorite class, but I would say out of all of them, out of 4 years, well, I'd say, well, two of them anyway. Number one was study hall, because that was my free time to do whatever I wanted. And also, it was, let's see, I failed. Don't ask me how I did, but I failed this class, or the basic video production.
Yep.
Basically, I passed everything. I was like, this is what you do in iMovie. That's easy. I know how to do iMovie. I'm a pro at it. But he failed me because his name was Chris Truitt. He failed me because I wouldn't work in groups, and
Right.
I had social anxiety and panic attacks, so that made it worse.
Yeah.
So I can do anything you want. Like, oh well, this is a group activity. Fine, I'll work in a group. Well, okay, what are you doing in a group? I don't know. I'm just standing here. They're doing all the work. It's like, okay. But he was a nice guy. I remember I was working at KB Toys, and I got a plastic mouse. And I came in, and I was squeezing it like this. And I'm like, hey, Chris, look. He's getting happy. But he said, oh, Jesus.
Yes.
But he was a nice guy. It's just... there's some there's some teachers that I really liked, like Mr. Simonson. I really liked Mr. Hinz.
Right.
And
So he failed me in high school in gym because I wound up breaking my ankle, and it was during basketball, like a basketball lesson session. And what wound up happening was I had to write a report on basketball instead, so that because I couldn't play, obviously. So I wrote it and went to go hand it in, and he said, hold on to it, like, give it to me at another time. So I did, and then I wound up never handing it in because he never asked for it, partly my fault. And then he gave me a 64, but he bumped up to a 65 just so I could pass. But nobody fails gym unless you really try not to, and I did because I guess I didn't turn my thing on time or something. So yeah, he was cool though, either way.
Well, while on the subject, it's and that's a cute dog, by the way.
Yeah, this is Gus.
Now, was it just like a mental thing, or did he have a fear of it too? Did you like changing in a locker room, or did you just like I like to have my own privacy? Is that like it's something everyone went through that phase? Because I
Oh,
never changed for gym. I refused. I always changed like in the bathroom or something. It's like I want my own privacy. Don't
right.
look at
Yeah.
me.
Um, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I mean, if I did change in the locker room, I'm sure I just did like a quick up and down. I mean, I don't really remember. I wasn't like walking around naked through the locker room or anything, but I don't really remember, to be honest. I mean, I might have gone into the bathroom stall. I'm not really too sure. And I definitely didn't shower in high school after the gym, though, which is probably pretty gross, but, you know, that's, I don't really remember, so.
Yeah, but still, it's nice to have your privacy.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely, so.
And I thought it was kind of weird, or well, kind of creepy how they had their office facing the locker room with the windows, and it's kind of like, yeah, no privacy here.
Right,
It's
yeah,
like,
I mean,
hey, what do take a picture or last longer? What are you staring
hey,
at?
yeah, they like the, I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'll leave that alone.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you before I pass the show over to you was we talked about the food fight. And
Mm-hmm.
also, the other question was actually I just drew a blank. Where were you? Do you remember where you were exactly on the food fight? Were you in there? Were you in a class at the time?
Yeah, so I was actually in the lunch period that the food fight was, and we had heard some rumors that it was going to happen that day. So I brought in my camera. I was like all ready to go. And basically, all I remember was sitting there, and I remember like the first thing being thrown. I don't even remember what it was. And so we basically all stood along the wall. I was taking pictures while everything was going on, food going everywhere. Excuse me. So I was actually, I never threw anything, but I was there for it. Remember when it spilled out into the hole and everything. And I mean, it was fun. It was funny. It got a little crazy, obviously, when it turned into a whole riot end of it, because it could have been like a lighthearted, fun thing to do. And then, the fact that they were trying to like kind of override the power by just, basically everyone banding together to like, scream like "fuck this school" and everything. It was just it got out of hand. I thought it was kind of stupid after a while. So I didn't get in trouble for that. Some of my friends got in trouble for it. They were like banned from like the prom and this, that, and the other thing. Um, but I wasn't suspended for that. I was actually suspended for 3 days because for April Fool's Day one year I staged a fake fight in the cafeteria, and me and a buddy of mine, Matt McMahon, got in a fight, and they really thought it was a fight. We had like the security guards come in, separate us, and everything. And when I went to the principal, they were confused as to like the fact that it was a joke. They thought that like it was like a real fight, and I'm like, no, like we're friends, like we planned it, like it was just like it was an April Fool's joke. It wasn't a big deal. So they didn't know what to make of it, so they wound up suspending us both for 3 days out of school. So could have been worse, I guess. I mean, but it was kind of funny. So
Now, out of all the teasers, who did you really like and who did you hate? I know I talked about this last time, but there's a couple funny stories. I remember this one teaser. She was a bimbo, but I remember I got in trouble and was called down to the office, and it's um, can't remember his name, but he was short. I guess he tried being like a soprano from one of those, hey, the Sopranos. But he was a assistant health principal. When you walked in the House A office, his office was right to your left. But he's a short guy, black hair, spiked back, always wore those fancy suits.
was the economics teacher?
No, he was just like assistant principal.
Ah. I don't remember.
And I remember I was in the office and I was pissed about why I was there. And the teacher told me to sit down. And I said no. He told me to sit down. It's like, hey, sit down. Teacher told you to sit down, you sit down. And I was so pissed. I'm like, the only reason you're a teacher here is because the Sopranos didn't want you.
Oh, Gandolfini, Mr. Gandolfini.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, his cousin was Tony Soprano, actually. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, I actually have a picture of him during the food fight too, standing over a garbage can that was knocked over. So, yeah, I got a couple good shots of him. But yeah, I never had a problem really with any of the teachers or principals per se. Trying to remember, I had a couple favorite teachers. It changed from year to year. My physics teacher in high school, I can't remember his name. He was a professor over at Orange County Community as well. But he actually got me really excited about science, and he was the one that kind of got me involved with the whole thing. Can't remember his name right now though. One of the teachers I had a tough time with, actually Mr. Romeo too, I really liked. Um, One of the teachers I had a tough time with was my Spanish teacher, Mrs. Slaver, and no matter how hard I tried, I mean, I wasn't very good at Spanish or anything like that, but I was really trying, and she was just like so hard on me about every little thing. But like I said, I mean, they're doing their job. It is what it is. I mean, it could have always been worse, but I mean, I think I was kind of alright with the teachers for the most part, So, but yeah, I guess my favorite teacher would be Mr. Romeo because really enjoyed. We did science fiction and fantasy class for his literature. And I liked that. I thought that class was fun. But Mr. Bulla, of course, Mr. Bulla, I used to love that guy. As my psych teacher, and I don't know. Those are the people that really stood out that I really enjoyed. So
And you mentioned in our last interview, you had Mrs. What's it, Mrs. Black or Mrs. Blatt?
Mrs. Black. Oh, stop us.
Or was that you or someone else who said?
Someone else. Yeah, I know the name. I never had her though. So
Oh.
yeah.
Basically, while on subject, she called everyone her children. It's almost like that's kind of creepy, but okay. But okay, but the teasers that I had, like I said, a couple of gym teasers I liked. Mr. Simpson, Mr. Hinch are really nice people. I pissed off Simpson a lot. He used to call me slick. But I'm not the smartest person in the world, but he didn't like how I try to get away with things. How for gym I never used to change. And I said, I have a fear of being in the locker room. And that's fine, you can change in our office. Go use our bathroom. That's okay. The guy I was telling you in your life about, do you ever go on? One day I was changing in the locker room. He was in the bathroom with another teaser. And they were, I guess, fooling around or whatever. He saw me and said, "Get the hell out of here." So since then, I was banned from changing in their office, number one. But the guy was a dick. He didn't. I didn't like him in the Rosemarins. I was 5 years old. He didn't change once. He was an asshole then. And 15, 20 years later, and now I even. But on the other history teacher, I guess he had EDD or whatever. Yeah, I told you the story, but for listeners who didn't hear it, he basically came into the store and said, "Hey, I heard rumors you worked here. Okay, I'm looking for a jacket. Let's see if you're capable or if you're able to help me find my jacket. You know, better. I know you're incompetent, so we know you're not gonna give me the best service. Let her help me." Because I know she's a lot smarter than you are.
Holy shit.
And I didn't tell you, but I went in the back. I was pissed. I wanted to strangle the guy, so I went in the back. You ever see Empire Records?
Maybe that's a record store a movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago. I don't really remember much of it though, but.
Well, my boss at the time, Joe. Oh, and actually, no, that was the guy in the movie. trying to think of his name. I can't remember, but he looked like Joe from the movie. You know, with the the long hair and everything. And first he didn't get it along because he was always busting people's chops. But once I told him I had a learning disability, he was okay. He became my best friend. He said to me, "Why are you back here?" I told him what happened. He said, "Okay, tell me where the guy is. I will straighten him out for you." So, and he walked out. The guy saw him. He took off, and he like, "That's too bad. I wanted to have some choice words for him." But he was one of my favorite managers, and that was one of my funny stories. Actually, do you have any funny stories you like to share?
From high school or just in general?
In general, also while on subject, when I was part of the audiovisual department, there's this song. There's two of them actually. There's one on Fahrenheit 9/11. Don't
Mm.
ask me why, but there's a song on there that I played and it had the motherfucker in it.
Oh,
And I didn't know because I thought, hey, well, he had all these CDs lined up. I thought he made sure there were no curse words in the CDs. They were all edited, and I thought it was okay. So when I was playing that one song and the MF came up, and I went, oh shit. So I went back and I told him I apologize. And he said, oh, no big deal. And and the other funny story was, oh, it's the other. Actually, I had it, I forgot. But what's your funny source? And maybe I can jog my memory. Remembered.
okay.
Uh, the people always called and they gave me a hard time as I stopped talking, play some music, or you play some shitty music. And this one person called and said, you suck, and hung up. And I answered back, you suck what? Oh, that's your preference. Sorry, I don't go that way.
Yeah. See, I can't really think about trying to think about as far as high school goes. Like I said, I was stoned a lot in the beginning of high school. I mean, some of my routines I remember was I used to in the morning smoke before I went to school, and I would be super high getting in there. Um, so I can't even think. Um, yeah, I'm drawing a blank, man. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of something else that's funny that happened. I can't even think right now.
No, not a problem. Well, what about in general, besides high school? Did he ever pull any pranks on your wife, or your wife pulls pranks on you, or what, your dog? Your dog ever do anything funny?
Yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, I guess not too long ago, actually, me and my cousin were going up to Wyndham to go snowboarding. And as soon as we got up there, we stopped at a gas station and picked up a pack of beer. And we were about a mile away from the house, so we're almost there. So he turns around to me and asks me if I want to have a beer. So I was like, we're not driving. A buddy of his was driving, so yeah, all right, why not? So the second that we crack open the beer, cops' lights go on right behind. So the cop pulls us over. He comes over to us. I take the beer, put it, in the back seat, like hiding it. And the cops come over, like asking us what we're doing, tell them that we're going up to my cousin's house, which is about a mile away. So he notices the beer. He's like, you guys drinking in here? I was like, no, like we're not. Like I didn't even take a sip yet. All I did was like crack the beer. So then he sees like the two open beer cans. He asks me about them. Takes them out of the car. Asks us if he could search us. He searches through everything, this, that, and the other thing. So when everything was said and done, he's like, all right, guys, like, you've been honest with us. Like, we see that, that you guys haven't drank anything out of the beer or anything. We don't want to see you, drinking on the road. He's just like, just do what you got to do. Just don't litter with the beers. So I was like, yeah, I'll dump them on the side of the road. And the cop goes like, I'm not telling you that you have to throw out the beer. He's like, just don't litter. So like me and my cousin are looking at each other like the cop just gave us a free pass to chug a beer in front of the cop. After that, I was like, that was probably the only opportunity we would ever have to drink in front of a cop on the side of the road. But we ended up dumping it out and getting home. But yeah, we got through without any tickets or anything. But I mean, that was a crazy story at the time. It doesn't sound as crazy like here now, but I mean, at the time it was long and drawn out. It was pretty funny. So
One of the funny stories, it didn't happen to me, it happened to my brother. Um, I give you an option. Do you want to hear a story of a yelling at Booker T? You know who Booker T is, right?
I know the name. I don't know.
You know, he's a professional wrestler.
Okay.
Well, do you want to hear the story about him, or do you hear the story about being punched in the face while taking a shit?
Punch in the face.
Had a what was it? He had a dorm with his two other friends. So the dorm was here, and on here's the dorm, and here's the sidewalk. So the sidewalk went around the building, and basically the bathroom window didn't have a screen.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother's friend was using the bathroom. Some guy was walking up and down the street. Noticed that his friend was on the some guy was on the toilet. He thought it would be funny for him to be punched to punch him in his face, so he stopped, thought about it. He was watching the guy as he's like, "Ugh." He reached in, he ducks him in the face. Oh my funny! It's funny when I mention this to my brother. It's like, hey, remember the time your friend got punched in the face while he's taking a shit?
That sucks. It's probably like the worst time to get punched in the face, I feel like. That's crazy.
Now, wrapping up, do you have any words of wisdom you want to say to your fans, or how they can follow you on social media?
Um, yeah, I don't really have any fans or any followers. I mean, not yet. I hope, that'd be cool. But I guess, just live your life, take it easy. Understand that it's not all about money. You just have to enjoy yourself, find what makes you happy, and that's what I'm trying to find myself right now. So I guess that's about it.